At 29,000 feet, your blood should be thick as sludge, and your heart should be exploding. But for these men, it's just another Tuesday. They aren't just guides. They are biological mutants. Most humans begin to rot the moment they enter the death zone. Your brain swells, your digestion shuts down, and your lungs fill with fluid. While you'd die of a stroke from thickened blood, Sherpas carry the EPAS1 gene, a 500-year-old mutation that keeps their blood thin and their oxygen efficiency at levels that defy modern physics. Without this genetic edge, Everest isn't a mountain. It's a frozen graveyard of 300-plus bodies that never made it down. Here is the terrifying science of how the Sherpa survive where evolution says they shouldn't.
I've been there 5 times, 4 times from the south side and once from the north side, from the Tibetan side. But it's never easy. On a mountain as high as 8,000 meters, the weather can change every 5 to 10 minutes. And when the weather turns bad, everything becomes extremely difficult. In 2006, we were the first team to open the route and reach the summit. That time, we arrived at around 3:30 in the morning. Some people went to Chamonix in France to receive training, and others came here to provide training. So now, people are a little different from before. Today, many people become guides first. They climb the mountains before working as porters.
But this biological superpower isn't just written in their DNA. It is forged in the most punishing environment on the face of the earth. From childhood, Sherpa grow up on steep hillsides, carrying heavy loads, breathing thin air. This environment shapes powerful muscles, balance, and endurance. Yet their mental strength often stands out even more. Mountains are considered sacred in Sherpa culture. Every climb is approached with calmness and respect. Beyond physical strength, they are masters of navigation in snowbound terrain. Sherpas install ladders, fix ropes, open routes, and carry vital supplies for others. Without them, most Everest expeditions would likely never succeed as they do today. The Sherpa are also known as caretakers of the yak, a massive animal native to the Himalayas and the Tibetan plateau. Yaks can survive temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius and live at altitudes above 4,000 meters. For the Sherpa people, yaks are essential to daily life. Their thick fur becomes warm clothing and tents. Their milk is processed into butter and cheese, a primary source of nutrition in a region poor in food resources. Even yak dung is used as fuel for cooking and heating, replacing wood that is scarce at high altitude. But their greatest role is as powerful pack animals. Like horses to cowboys or camels to desert travelers, yaks are the driving force of Himalayan mountain routes. With strong bodies and steady steps, they can carry loads approaching 100 kilograms across narrow, rocky, snow-covered trails that modern vehicles can never reach. In climbing expeditions, they form the backbone of logistics, transporting equipment, food, and tents from villages to base camp. Their resistance to thin air and extreme cold makes them the Sherpa's most loyal companion in a world above the clouds. The history of Everest climbing alongside the Sherpa and European explorers is long and costly. Since the early 1920s, European adventurers supported by Sherpa attempted to conquer the world's highest peak, Mount Everest. rising nearly 8,848 meters above sea level. For decades, every attempt failed. Everest was too wild. More than 3 decades of trials claimed lives. Over a dozen Sherpa and explorers died from avalanches, exhaustion, hypothermia, and lack of oxygen. At the time, the Everest region was extremely isolated. Logistics were difficult. Weather was unpredictable. Blizzards could strike without warning. Temperatures dropped to around minus 60 degrees Celsius, enough to threaten even the most experienced climbers. The greatest challenge begins above 7,000 meters, an area known as the Death Zone. Here, air pressure drops sharply. Oxygen becomes dangerously scarce. The human body is pushed beyond its limits. Breathing becomes labored. The heart races. Digestion slows. Appetite disappears. Sleep becomes nearly impossible. These conditions are the main cause of hundreds of deaths on Everest. A historic turning point came in late May 1953. Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a legendary Sherpa guide, officially became the first humans to stand atop Mount Everest. The climb was part of a British expedition led by John Hunt, sponsored by the Royal Geographical Society and the Alpine Club. After weeks battling brutal terrain and weather, Hillary and Tenzing departed from their final camp at around 8,500 meters. Their greatest obstacle was the Hillary Step, a steep rock face blocking the final route to the summit. With calm focus and exceptional technical skill, they overcame it. By midday, they stood on the highest point on Earth. At the summit, Tenzing placed food offerings as a gesture of respect to Sherpa tradition. Hillary left behind a small cross. After about 15 minutes, they descended safely, carrying news that echoed around the world. Upon returning, Hillary was welcomed as a hero and received a knighthood from Queen Elizabeth II. Tenzing was honored as a national hero. Yet he remained humble, stating that the achievement was the result of collective effort. Being a guide on Everest is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. But for the Sherpa, the risk is matched by the reward. In a single expedition, a Sherpa can earn tens of thousands of dollars, depending on agreements, carried loads, and climbing goals, not including bonuses. One expedition lasts around 2 months, meaning many Sherpa work only once or twice a year. A single climb typically involves dozens of Sherpa, making the cost of reaching Everest's summit extremely high. The journey begins at base camp, located at an altitude above 5,364 meters. Here, Sherpa prepare critical supplies: food, fuel, oxygen tanks, medical equipment. Every detail must be precise. A single missing item can cost a life. Climbers usually spend several days here acclimatizing before ascending higher. Before moving on, Sherpa and climbers participate in a Puja ritual, a ceremonial offering seeking protection from the gods and mountain spirits, led by a lama. Incense is burned. Prayer flags are raised. Food offerings are made. When the prayers end, they dance together, a symbol of courage and hope before facing the brutal journey ahead. The Sherpas' tasks then begin. First, the Icefall Doctors open routes through the Khumbu Icefall, a shifting maze of crevasses and towering ice blocks. They install aluminum ladders and safety ropes to make passage possible. Second, high-altitude porters carry vital equipment, oxygen, tents, and food from base camp to higher camps, up to Camp 4. They move back and forth constantly, keeping supplies available. Third, guide Sherpa accompany climbers, monitor health conditions, ensure oxygen supply, and help carry equipment. Fourth, weather and navigation teams analyze wind and snowfall to determine the safest moment to attempt the summit. The ultimate test comes above 8,500 meters, deep inside the death zone. Here, the human body begins to fail. Oxygen is critically low. Every step feels impossibly heavy. Many climbers never return from this point. Since the beginning of Everest exploration, hundreds have lost their lives. Most remain frozen on the slopes, where evacuation is nearly impossible. Yet through the resilience of the Sherpa, climbers continue toward the roof of the world. At over 8,800 meters, the summit is finally reached. But for the Sherpa, this is not the finish line. They guide every climber back down safely. A responsibility more important than celebration. In the end, behind the glory of those who reach the top, there is the breath of life itself. Those who guard the path. Those who guide. Those who ensure that every step finds its way home.